Hello. This should be this microphone. And then that's that camera. Testing. Okay, we're back. So welcome to day 2 of building this AI Mac assistant. I was just checking that this is up. And then that's that camera. Testing. Close this. And then let's go. Let's close that for a sec. So we've got yesterday, I think, where we stopped was I didn't have any of these other squares in here. And so I think what I decided was there's the search functionality that renders results based off of your query. Sorry, there's a lot of traffic outside and super loud. But let's see. So I've got a media gallery here where the returns are my results, the results from my search query. And then, it's so annoying. And then what I decided to do was to add some like data sources, like some connections where it's obvious to the user what can be added to Cosmos. I think that's been one of the challenges of people using this app. It's just been like they sign up and they don't really understand what to do. So I'm working on just like the UX, like what does somebody experience when they sign up for the app? And there'll be like a whole onboarding part too. But for now, since it's just redesigning the homepage, this is going to be your results, then data. So hopefully this starts to get obvious with the tooltips as well. So click to index your photos with Cosmos, your iPhotos. So this is like our iPhotos integration. We're going to be able to search them using semantic search, but then we're also going to give you some stats. So Apple actually has a SQL database as part of the Photos library that you can query. So I think this tab over here, Photos, is going to become like an iPhotos dashboard. We'll see how it looks. And then we've got Downloads folder. And so something that seems to resonate with people is like the Downloads folder is usually a disaster. So you download so much stuff, text and images, videos, and it's never organized. So also if you're a creator, like you end up downloading a lot of thumbnails and just one-off media that usually just ends up in the Downloads folder. So I'm thinking if we can help organize that, it might be exciting for users. And then if it was self-organizing, like use AI to do that. And then new source, so this will be like drag any files or folders into this new source, and then that folder will be indexed with Cosmos. And then underneath, we've got integration, so this would be like Adobe Premiere. This is the one that works right now, but this could be like DaVinci for the video editing crowd. It could be other like Photoshop if you want to export stuff there, and Figma, anything that will let, hopefully like users tell us that, what kind of integrations that they want. But then this page is kind of filled out. On the bottom right, we'll add like an intercom or Zendesk, one of those like chatbot widgets. Add that to the bottom. Photos will become a dashboard. I'm not working on that. And then this index page, I think the plan is to turn this into kind of like a running log so that you can see like what stuff was indexed and when. And it'll be mostly for troubleshooting. I'm honestly not sure that you really need this page, but it would be helpful for debugging, like debugging apps that are on people's computers is a little bit more difficult because just everybody's got a little bit different setup. So there is some analytics like functionality to build out in the bottom in the server of this app, where when something crashes, we send Cosmos the reports, so that way like we can start to fix stuff and people, we don't have to wait for people to report it. But so yeah, so that'll be like this next one. And then over here, the settings page, I think this is the last priority. So figure out like how to capture somebody's email on this page, and think about like what settings we want them to be able to toggle. Maybe, I don't, like what other features we can add in here, but this would be like a placeholder for everything else. So let's get to it. Let's take a look at the data sources. This is the home component. Video. So let's look at this home components. Components, this part is kind of ugly, but that's okay. So we've got the search bar, that's this over here, and then search results.length. If the search results, if it has a length, then we're going to render this div, and that's the div with the results. The search results. These tiles, I don't love the color on them. I think they should also maybe be bigger. I feel like maybe only 3 on this page. Then there's a video, there's a div underneath the video that has all these variables. This text is probably a little bit too close together. So maybe it should have like some margin, maybe like 5. And then data. So let me think about where to start. I think I noticed that when you start the app, there's this over here, the 0. What is that? Let's get rid of that. Is that this conditional? I thought this only rendered this component. Let's see. What if we just comment all this out? No, doesn't like that. Like if I comment out this div. Still there. There it is. Oh, not greater, not just only greater. Yeah, there it is. So I guess just having it be a .length check doesn't, it still renders that 0, but so it's got to be greater than. Fine. And we just open that back, turn that back on, and now let's look for min. There it is. So notice here it returns timestamps, the same video, different timestamps. The thumbnail is still at the same, it's all in the same place. I wonder if, let's see if we can actually change that real quick. Let's go source. What's in the video component, or in this video element? Let's open this up. Set start time. How do you do this? From 2011, let's say 50 seconds, something more recent. Start HTML. Current time. This is the question. Nope. Current time property. Mozilla, yeah, okay. Video.current time. Okay, I just have a video element here. Video. Attributes. Height, plays in line, preload. Source. Oh, one sec. I'll be right back. All right, let's get back. Can play through. I want like current time, seeked. Are these event handlers? What are these? Oh yeah, these are events. I want like attributes. What about, that's ChatGPT. Dot current time. GPT slow. I was just saying like a load metadata event handler. Keep in mind that setting current time will only work if the video is loaded. If you're trying to set current time before the video has loaded, you may need to listen for the loaded metadata or can play event to ensure the video is ready. I thought that there was a different way to do this. Doesn't seem like there's a current time autocomplete. I also thought there's a different project where we do this. Let me see. I've got a project. The Cosmos UI. It's a React project. It's a web app that I think it has something like this. Video player. Source. Loaded loop. The video player has a video ref and handle loaded data. Yeah, there it is. And then handle loaded data. If video, let's also give this a video ref. What if this is a state thing? The video ref? Yeah. So this is going to be a bunch of them. Video ref, so it sets the current time on the video ref. Let's just try to print out the time. equals element. And then let's also print out res. What doesn't it like about this? It can be any type. Okay. Now let's print. I don't know why it's doing this, but okay, now let's search. And okay, so there's a synthetic event. The synthetic event has all this stuff in it. Target video. So it has a target. And the target has a current time. Okay, so what is this? Is you deconstruct target from the element. Yeah. There's a timestamp. And then there should also be a res. What's that? Here it is. So we just need to assign the timestamp to the target.current time. What kind of value is that? I have a feeling that it's seconds. Let's try hard coding it. So from the element, we're going to deconstruct the target. And let's print that out. I don't know why it's doing this full page thing. The reason it returns results when there's just like nonsense in here is because of the way that the retrieval from Redis works. Redis, there's no, the way that it doesn't, it always returns something. Because of the way it's configured, regardless of the confidence level. So that's some other work that is like, this search has to be improved. And like, this is the bare minimum search, basically. Target video, okay. So video then it's gonna be video.current time. Let's say it's 10. Reload it. Oh, this is different. The thumbnail is different. Oh, and so is this one. So what if I give it a timestamp? Let's say 000003. It's gonna know that. Doesn't like that. So I think when we were looking on Mozilla, asking GPT if I can pass this as a string. I think I know you can, but just for... Well, that's really slow today. I had recently noticed that it felt like it was getting faster, but I guess not. Is that showing up on OBS? Not sure. Wow, this is just hanging. Let me just go back to Mozilla. Well, I think I know. Whatever, let's just go, let's just do it. So let's convert this value How did I do it in the other project? It's just, it never gets converted. Start time, search metadata. I have a feeling that this value gets converted somewhere. Oh, there it is. Start time to seconds. Start time in seconds. Oh, I think it gets saved in seconds. I think in the API, there also might be a clue. Okay, let's just rewrite it. I don't think I'm going to find it. So let's do current time. Yeah, so this value needs to go from formatted to seconds. So what's that going to look like? Let's write a function up here. Let's go timestamp to seconds. Take a timestamp. So what we'll do is we want to break the timestamp up first into, how do we want to do that? So the timestamp is going to look like this. So we want to like split these values up. So we can split on the colon. That should give us 3 parts, assuming that's the format. We can check that in a second. And then we could just go convert this, convert hours to seconds, convert minutes to seconds, leave seconds and seconds, and add them up. I think that'll work. So let's call this like time list. We do a timestamp split on the colon. Then we should be able we could deconstruct it. So we get hours, minutes, seconds, since I think that's the way the timestamp should always be formatted, from the time list. And then hours in seconds, hours divided by 60. This right? We're gonna go hours in seconds divided by 60. That's gonna give us minutes. And then minutes. Wait, I'm doing this wrong. Hold on. Let me just ask ChatGPT. Let's say write me a function to convert a timestamp into seconds timestamp format is, take this, copy it. Answer should be a single number of seconds. Let's see what ChatGPT does. So hours into seconds, divide by now I think we're going to multiply by 60. That's the number of minutes. And then we should multiply that by 60, and that's the number of seconds. So let's just a quick math. If we did, so 2 hours times 60 minutes, it's 120 minutes, and then, yeah, times 60 is 7,200 seconds. Yeah, it looks like something's up with GPT today. Yeah, cool. So this is hours and seconds, minutes and seconds. Multiply that by 60. And then we already have seconds. So then we just do an add. Hours and seconds plus minutes and seconds plus seconds. Const. Let's return that. What doesn't it like about this? Oh, this could be a string. Print out this new time. And then this is going to return a number. Oh. Oh, okay. We got to parse int these things. Parse int. Yeah, weird. Let's make sure. I'm pretty sure. Oh. I think it's 10 for this Redis number. I forget. Parse int. Base 10. Yeah, that's what we want. And then we return this thing. String is not available to type number. Parse int this as well. All right, let's give this a shot. Close this down. New time, 3. Oh, they're all different times. 35. So for this one, new time, that looks wrong. 35 seconds, okay. Yeah, that's wrong. Why is the new time should be 35. Let's take a look at what's going on in here. Would it work if I do a debugger in here? I don't know if Electron supports this or React does. Oh, it does. Cool. So let's look at the console here. So timestamp is that string number, just like we expected. Then time list. Let's step over it. Okay, 0, 0, and 3. So this should be hours is 0. Yeah. So that's hours is 0. Minutes is 0. So minutes and seconds 0 plus 3 seconds. Checks out. Current time is 3. Okay, what's the next one? Also 3 seconds. Did I not update? Oh, because it's all 3. That's why. Let's actually pass in the time. So it should be target. Let me see what the target, that timestamp. Target. Oh, sorry, element. I mean, dot timestamp. Target. Res dot timestamp. Open this up and search again. Oh, let's go back to the debugger. Just confirm that the right number is being passed in there. 235. So it should be 120 plus 35, 155. Should be the new number. 2 minutes, 35 seconds. This one's 0. 2 minutes times, that's 120, yep. And then the number, $245. That's not right. This is the string again is 231. So 129 plus 31. And then how does the result end up being 245? Let's just print it out like this for now. Okay. New time. So some of these look right. Yeah, it says 122, but then it doesn't get set on the current time. Timestamp to seconds. Let me try just hard coding 122. Just restart it because it feels like the debugger's being weird. Oh, I think I left a breakpoint on. Something like that. Okay, starting back up. Let's open up my other screen. Do a search. Oh, it's because I left it. Yeah, just on. $27. Do the elements tell me the start time? I'm gonna print out the target again. Yeah, no, it's here. What does the target say? Current time. 122. It's an annoying problem. Oh yeah, okay, here, these are different frames. Yeah. 1 second, 4 seconds. These are all different frames. Great. It's working. Let's clean this up. So what did we do? We took, let's clean up some of this styling. what I was complaining about. Disable media has caption. Oh, it needs a caption. Or what is it? Alt text? What media has option? Media has caption. For deaf users, okay. Kind captions. Video track captions. Muted. If I mute it, does it go away? Yeah. I think that's what we want. They're not going to play. We'll be able to scrub through them. So, I don't know. Maybe this will stay for now. Won't worry about it. And then current time. So now that we have everything with different caption or with different timestamps, let's go. We could index the downloads folder. Let's think about the flow of the app again. So we can do some more design on this so it looks a little bit better. Add some more functionality with like index your downloads folder specifically. Add a new source. Yeah, maybe adding some stuff like the downloads folder could be a good place to start. So let's like sketch out. I'm gonna sketch out the flow real quick of just how I think this might work. So I've got like a pen and paper, and let me see if I can do this. I'll do it on paper. It'll be faster. I'll figure out a way how to live stream it next time. But for the sake of time, let's do, so the user navigates to the home screen. I'm doing like a little bit of a storyboard. So the home screen, and then on the home screen, they can search, they can add data, they can add integrations. I'm gonna stand up for a sec. So the user can add search, they can add data, they can add integrations. They can chat customer support. So adding the data would be the next logical place to start. I'll add the data in the downloads folder. Get my standing hour in. I did it. All right, cool. So, let's start by adding the downloads folder. How this is controlled. Click to index your downloads folder with Cosmos. So let's take a look at, let's commit that little fix that we just did. This little timestamp function. Render timestamp frame, we'll call that commit. Starting up my app. Allow. Move this over. So when I click downloads, I want to open up the downloads folder. So we have this dragger. Here. What is this hooked up to? This should be like upload. When I click this new source, I think that comes with this dragger package. Dragger comes from upload, and upload comes from ant-d. So let's open the ant-d documentation. Ant design, and then let's look at upload. Timeline, skeleton, upload. I think this is the one, yeah, this is the one that we're using. Where's the app? Since this is hard to see because of the stream, there it is. Move that on the side, and how does this component get made? I think this is what I started with, this dragger. Oh, this goes straight to your downloads. Okay, cool. How do they do it? Action. Status uploading. On drop. Does this have a default directory that it opens to? It does something called Maki. If done, it takes some props, and the props are up. Oh, okay. Files, action is the Maki. On change, it does some work. So this is to actually handle the upload, which used to happen in this header component. Page header. I think in jobs too. There used to be like a make searchable. Look to see where we would add icon. It's passed into page header. I think it's under global components. The global layout. Yeah, select media. This used to be hooked up to something. Is preview. Sidebar, constants. Helpers. Get duration. One second, I'm gonna go to the main branch right now and take a look at source, main, renderer, global components, global layout. So this, where did media? Select media, on click, global export container. Make content searchable with Cosmos. Yeah, so select media is what? Show open dialog. Okay, this is the function that I want. So let's go to global layout. Copy this function. Yeah, this is opening the dialog. It's got to send it to the app server to do it. This is all coming back to me. Out of curiosity, can this be declared outside of the component? I don't remember. This is one of those things that it's like I should know, but I don't know. Like why you define stuff in here versus out here. I'll look it up eventually. Okay. So we've got some job count. If it's more, you've reached your free limit. Okay, let's not worry about that. I don't think we're gonna do that anymore. These are the files that are supported. Movies, select, choose a file. Save job, set reload true, success. And then success is this Swagger, if I remember correctly, message API. No, I think Swagger's maybe from the other app. Let's copy that over. A little bit faster here. Define this above. Message API. What's message API? This is use message. Where's use message from? Message.use message. That's from Anti. All right. Message. There it is. Cool. Throw this context holder not being used. Figure out what to do with that. Set reload. I don't think we need this anymore. Set off an event to begin indexing. Okay, and then where does select media go? Select media goes on the on click on the thing. So let's, on the component, just move this back over. Downloads. On click on the icon. So I think for this one, it's probably the whole thing. I think on click, select media. Isn't that a pretty thing? Oh, it's not native. What can I do? Not the tooltip. I want the whole thing to be clickable. Visible non-interactive elements with click handlers must have at least one keyboard listener. If using native HTML is not possible, an appropriate role. Okay, so like, does Anti have a div? Like some kind of container, divider, flex. What's their like container thing? Is it flex? No, that's like a flex box layout. First level of navigation. anchor, hyperlinks, data entry, div, let's see if that works for now. This is the dragger, so it downloads. And it takes you to pictures. Choose a file. Let's see if we're in the right place. That's some exclamation points. Yeah, so I am editing it. Notice that. So on downloads, these are grayed out because I only want JPEGs and MP4s. And then this one lets you pick everything. Great. So some more to-dos. Can I open dialog? This sends it. So let's go to the server. Let's go to where this opens the dialog. In main. And then what's the message is show open dialog. That's in here. So for Electron, you have this whole like renderer process, which is all the client side React stuff. And then you've got this whole like server main thread. I think it's called main thread. I just think of it as the server. And you can send messages. So you send messages between the renderer and the main thread. I forget what IPC main. I forget what the acronym stands for. But so then you handle each of those individually, and we're sending a message here called show open dialog, which if I search it here, is here. When there's a dialog, show open dialog. Directory selector. So this is a native function that comes from dialog, which comes from Electron. Yeah, so dialog is an Electron thing. So we're passing a message to the main thread to render this dialog box. Now what I don't remember is how do you tell it open dialog, main window, method. Show open dialog. You say the open window, open dialog. Then canceled file paths. Return the file paths. How do you decide what? There must be some documentation. Say Electron dialog. There it is. Options. This looks suspiciously like what's in here. Multi-selections show, okay, so properties is this array over here. String array contains which features the dialog should use. Allow files to be selected. Allow multiple paths. Show hidden files. Create directory. Prompt to create. No resolve aliases. Do not add to recent. Message. Filters. Browser. Okay, so it's got movie. So it's filters is for. So these extensions would be in different types of filters for images, for movies. No wildcards. So we just looked at. How do I give it a specific path? Like I only want it to get the downloads folder. I'm gonna search if anybody dialog, open folder. Multi-selection. Working with files. I don't see a way to give it like an opening path, which was what I was hoping to do. Like I want the user to be able to just click downloads and it just starts to sync it. So maybe this dialog route isn't the way to go. If we know that it's the downloads folder, in main, we get these file paths. Can I just hard code this file path? I think the tricky part is going to be getting the user's directory. I'm going to console log this result. See what it looks like. Oh, and then let me pick the YouTube thumbnail. Oh, this is an FFmpeg library. Okay, I'll have to fix that in a second. FFmpeg issue. Okay, that's fine. But I didn't get result, I don't think. Start it back up. allow. It's okay. Oh, and somebody's at my door. Downloads live coding. One sec. All right, I'm back. Let's get back to, so here's the file path. In the main thread, I think there's also some like getting the home directory type of stuff. So path, what's this being used for? I think OS is what I want. Bin path, resources path. Yeah, we decide these up front. Path.join. This is some information, yeah, how we get path.join resources path. Let's try OS. From OS. We do this in the front end. We do OS dot architecture home dir. In the context bridge, home dir. Where's that? Directory paths. os.home dir is the home directory. Yeah. I think we can try something like this. So let's also print in main let's print out home dir. And let's see if we can just like put this downloads path, like just construct it, since we don't actually need the user to select it, like we know what it is. Then we don't have to open a modal. We don't have to open a dialog for them to do anything. And it just adds to downloads folder. Could be pretty slick. Home dir, users Brian. Okay. So I think now that we know this, let's leave this function alone and let's create a new one. So instead of dialog, what we're gonna do, let's make this bigger. Yeah. What we're going to do is when you select media, you're not going to select media. Instead, you're going to select downloads. This will probably be async. And what this will do is this is going to fire off a message to the main thread. So that selected paths, so let's say, let's call this result for now. And then we're going to do some await window. This should have a type, but I'm not going to do that right now. Sometimes Typescript is just like not worth the trouble. This will call a function. Let's throw this in here. This was calling show open dialog. Open dialog. There's like a couple in the preload. It needs to be connected. That calls dialog. So let's say index downloads. It's going to be channel. Let's make a camel case. These are inconsistent for no reason. Okay, so that does that. And then in the preload, it goes in two places. Yeah, so then index downloads. Then here, the IPC render. This is index downloads. Let's see some other examples of this. Open dialog for photos, dialog photos. Handle file metadata events, file metadata. Okay, these are like the actions that you can take, the channel. Job channels. Okay. So this one's just going to do regular channels. I'm going to put it in here, index downloads. Got to refresh my memory. I'm a little rusty on this part. You index downloads, you pass in, I think, index downloads. If I remember. I think if I search this, I'll find it. Search images. Yeah, search images, search that. It's just weird with this camel case and hyphenated stuff. Index downloads. What else does this look like? Then it's got, I think, some props, which are the args, yeah. So for now, let's just go index downloads. Then in main, we need an index downloads. Handle index downloads. I'm not sure what the right convention on just like naming all this stuff is. I think I'll figure that out later on. It seems like a lot of repetition. Like it may not be worth it. Like just the overhead of like having to trace your way through all this stuff is kind of heavy. So let's put it handle yeah. I think I could also make these constants, you know, but I'm also trying to stay focused on like not refactoring stuff just because I could change it. Yeah, like let's make this a const. Yeah, I like the const better. Declaring it as a variable instead of just like this function. Index downloads. Let's just make sure this is hooked up. Okay, so now let's hook this up to this div. Okay, so my expectation is that when I click on downloads, select downloads, I'm going to print this over here. I don't know if I need to restart everything, but I will just in case. It's really cold in here. Oh, there's something that doesn't like IPC handle. It's down here. Extra parentheses. Index downloads is not defined in renderer. Select downloads, that's why. Okay, we're back. Now let's try on downloads. Cannot read reading index downloads. Renderer dev select downloads. Cannot read properties of undefined reading index downloads. So what is undefined? I don't think it made it to here. Is it the IPC renderer? Await. Sorry about the ambulance. I think it might be treating the, oh, I think maybe I need to add window in here, import this. No. Await window to let's try that. Just await window to Electron. window.electron.ipc. Oh, renderer. Typo. Try it again. Downloads. Oh, and it printed. Sweet. Now we're cooking. Close some of these tabs. So this gets printed in main. Save job, get all jobs. Index downloads. And now let's use, this is like the main, yeah, create window. This is where a lot of the business logic lives, in main.ts. Where's the dialogue? Oh, it does it down here. That's right. Oh, default path. So it looks like we already do this for photos. You can set a default path. But let's try it like this. Yeah, okay, so now that's good to know that this takes a default path. But if we're going to index downloads, then we just need to go to the path. Return the path. Then you save the job. So we do, so all of this this is doing is getting the path. So I wonder if we even actually need a message to the server for this. We don't actually. We could just save the job. Let's do something like this. Where we save the job, the selected path is going to be, is there an OS in here? No. We're going to do os.homedir. And then it'll just be home directory. Give it a path too. Path.join the home directory with downloads. Let's just print this out for now. We're not going to send this to the server anymore. Path is not, you can't import path. You can't import. React import path helper. How to set base path for all imports in React. Absolute paths. Avoid path. Import hell. Oh man, this is the stuff that sometimes, yeah, with like the paths and JavaScript, it gets a little crazy. Let's just do it as a string. Let's not import path and instead just concatenate it. So that should be the correct path to my downloads directory. It doesn't like OS either. How do we do in the other one? We don't import it. Interesting. We just do that. Oh, and it works. Does the path also work? See what it says. No, it doesn't work. Okay. Glad we tested that out. Now, download Brian, use directory. Let's just check it in the terminal. And then downloads, yeah. So then the path to downloads. Is all this. And then just confirm that that looks the same. Users, Brian, downloads. Users, Brian, downloads. Now let's save the downloads directory. I don't know what the result on this is. Let's see. And then let's console log. I wonder if okay, so one thought that I'm having is like whether the user should have more flexibility when they select the downloads folder, like should it index the entirety of the downloads folder? I think that there are two options. There's opening the dialog already to the downloads folder and just making that like its own path. And then you can pick everything that's in there, or you can just dump the whole thing in there. And right now I'm kind of leaning towards just like index the whole thing, but I worry that like, what if your downloads folder is really massive? Yeah, I have a lot of videos in here. I have some zip files, GIF. Let's start with the whole thing, and then if it turns into a problem, then you can always change it. So this is passing all this in here. Okay. Now let's go and just do the downloads folder. And then let's go to save job. What does this do? File paths array. Takes the first one and then in the file paths array, it iterates through the whole thing. Path extension name. So I think before we do all this, let me just print out what happens in here. just this part. I have a suspicion, I mean, we can just look at the code, like file paths array is going to be this first argument. And so what's it going to do with the whole, it still iterates through the whole thing. Let's try it. File path.map is not a function. Can't resolve OS. There's a lot of errors in here. Okay, file paths array is a string. And then this is going to try to iterate over it. And that's because I think the dialog box returns back an array of all the file paths. What's interesting is that it also gets wrapped in an array. Like the way that it gets passed in. Oh, why do we do this? I feel like we don't need to do that. So save job. We need a way to distinguish when something comes in, whether it's a single file, an array of files, or a folder that we need to like iterate through to get all the files inside of it. So let me write that down so I don't forget. Let me think. So there's single file, array of files, or let's say multiple files, and then a folder. So a folder, I feel like we should always try to get everything to like an array of files and then iterate through all the files. And the challenge is, if it's a directory, we could turn this into an object, and instead of passing an array that we deconstruct, the args could tell us whether it's a directory, or at least not the generic one. Selected file paths. Multiple selections, open files. Let's go back to dialog, Electron for a sec. Show hidden files, create directory. Treat packages directory, app folders instead of a file. There don't seem to be any default path. Yeah, this is what I was looking for before. I think maybe a way around this, and just like the easiest way without getting too crazy, is actually using this, like a lot of the select media stuff, giving it a default directory of downloads, and that's it. Like I think instead of doing this, let's go back to main, and then so what does this say the default directory is at the bottom here? is valid. So while is valid is false, show dialog sync is a little different than let's take this, comment this out for a sec. Default path. And then this needs this anyway. Downloads directory. I mean, I'm not going to save anything. Let's try downloads. It opens to downloads. This one opens to downloads as well. So new source. It's hooked up to the dragger. I think the dragger might just open the last thing. But we check this out. We go to downloads. And then it's just all the media that fits. Okay, so here I do have some folders. I'm curious to see what happens when I pass in a folder. Select. Oh, it makes you go into it. Okay, I think that's okay for now. And then let's default this one to desktop, the other one. So select downloads. This one's going to be select media. On click does not exist on this type. I gotta look up to see how the dragger gets connected. So then this gives us selected file paths. If I select multiple, it's an array. So I think under save job, all of that will get indexed. Event to begin indexing. So now the difference here, I think, is like, let's not make this an array. Let's make this an object. And then from here, selected file paths. So now when we save the job, we do select downloads. We pass in the selected file paths. That's an object that gets deconstructed, and then we iterate over all the selected file paths and we upload them. And that works for select downloads. So these three selected file paths, array of 3. PNG, yep, there they are. And then the file paths array is undefined, I think, because it needs to be restarted. Adding these two selected file paths. There they are. And then that gets iterated over. Cool. So let's say like that's doing the downloads, and this will do everything, whatever you select from the downloads folder. We can add another one. We'll do something similar. It's basically the same function, except it's going to be whatever you want, whatever folder you want. And I guess if I think about it like this, something that just came to mind is that when this, I think I could still move around. Yeah. Oh, it's freaking out if I cancel. Because if you cancel, what's the check on here? File paths, if canceled, result. What's the result? Selected file paths is undefined. Oh, because I need to get a return. There's a manual check for it. Oops. Cool, it closes. Then I pick some new ones, and then it's gonna freak out for a different reason. Yeah, some FFmpeg errors. I gotta switch the FFmpeg binary. I think there's an issue with the version that I have. So I'll probably do that up next. But this means like select downloads is working. You can still technically move around to other directories, but I think just for the sake of the user, like it's nice that it opens up on the downloads directory, and maybe select media can just open at desktop. Yeah, let's copy that over. I think this could just have os.homedir. Maybe desktop. Technically do that as well. downloads, and home. Let's try it. And then this will be the last thing I do for now. Downloads, opens the downloads, new source, also opens the downloads. That's not right. Oh, select media. Oh, I didn't figure out how. So this dragger, let's look at the dragger on here. Upload. So this has, they're not using an upload here. Dragger has these props. It has an action, name file. Does it take a default path? What is it called? Default path. What if I just click on the, does it show me in the actual component what it takes? Exotic component. It comes from upload. Upload, compound component, type of dragger, upload props. There we go. Default file list. File list, oh, directory. That's a Boolean. Multiple, show upload list. List type, style, with credentials, ID, max count. Oh, it takes a max count, okay. File list. What was it? Show upload list, action, file list, upload file, an array of upload files. That's the actual file. Directory. Does it tell you what it does? Let's try it. Oh, this only lets you do directories. Clever. Okay, okay. But what about support list type, action, file list, default file list. It's an array of upload files, name. On download, custom request, max count. It doesn't look like this takes a default one. So the reason this one's a little different is because this one is, I want to be able to drag stuff to index, but also click the directory. So I'm using this dragger component, and I mean, technically it's going to open in the same, like the same place. Oh, what was that error about? Yeah, I think that, so the reason why this component is a little bit different is because I want this component to be able to do this. Like you can just drag something into it. So you can drag a directory, you can drag a file versus downloads. But with the dragger, it doesn't look like it's connected to anything. Get rid of this. Post index 404 not found. Yeah, it's doing like a post. Not rewriting to post. Yeah, so this isn't hooked up to to a handler yet. We could do it the other way and then find a different way to make it draggable. I'll give it some thought. I think for now I'm gonna commit this, so it's a little bit slower than yesterday, but it's getting to some, it's getting there. A lot of little decisions to make, but I think the plan will probably be something like, see if I can make the downloads draggable, or see if I can make the new source draggable, and then also just default to the home screen, hook it up to that select media, and then it should work as normal. Then the last part is iPhotos, not going to worry about that. Katrina's working on that. And then once those things are hooked up, then I think I will focus on how they're being rendered in search so that it looks nicer. So I'm going to commit this. What do we got in home? We got some new functions. This we might not actually end up using. I don't think we will. This we'll keep. But I don't think, there's no need to do index downloads already working, so let's just get rid of this now. Don't. Index downloads will go away. I think everything in preload can go. Yeah. Yes, sometimes you write code that you throw away. Happens. Here we go. Selected file path, change that into an array, and then the home component has like some new. Okay. So let's hook up downloads button. Yeah. Push that up. Cool. And then I think I'll probably get on this a little bit later. I gotta go run some errands, but I'll be back. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.